Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much for listening to you. You're the community members. Thank you, dear colleague. I told him he was in Penn State. I was in Penn, University of Penn State. But I am really acquainted with the anthropology section of Penn State. Very powerful program. Thank you so much for presentation. It was very inspiring. So please let me a little bit give a little bit of spice of controversy. Always we're talking about bottom up. Thank you for putting between quotes indigenous. We don't use anymore the term indigenous. It's just like the colonial era of French protectorate. You are the indigenous and we are the Europeans, or you are Australia. So please, we don't use indigenous anymore. We are using only the genius loci, the smartness of the local community. They are the sustainability, we are the distractors, period. Technocratic planning, master planning, dictating rules of order, while there is actually a certain local intelligence that's been there for centuries. What makes me unhappy that we are talking about Lahaus like a kind of species in the middle of nowhere, and we are coming here to dissect their reality and understand, but who we are. Please, first of all, we need to change the mindset. They are all Moroccans like us, period. So where the problem resides? The problem, okay, please, I want to help you. But there is a whole governmental program. There are public policies. There are sectors to reach development. Sector of education, sector of health, sector of infrastructure. Where are these sectors? And then, you know what, I'll come to do for you a little saqya. I will come help the poor woman to do a couple of rags. I'm sorry, something wrong. It's not about cooperatives and doing micro interventions. Thank you. From the human side is good. But from the strategic side is also very problematic. Why we have a state? And there are lots of, thanks to His Majesty, a lot of policies they were set up. Le nouveau modèle de développement, la régionalisation avancée, le nouveau grand chantier des énergies renouvelables, la transformation de l'économie marocaine vers une économie qui n'est pas seulement limitée à l'activité de l'agriculture, mais plutôt qui va vers l'industrie. Donc, the ports, why we are investing in Morocco in highways, fast trains, you know, I just came from Dakhla, by the way. We're working on the Vision 2030 for the city of Dakhla. And what happened in Morocco is amazing. But there are two realities that are so complex. When we started doing, by the way, before even the earthquake, I will show you just by satellite imaging. We have at the School of Architecture, Planning and Design at UM6P, we have something called Territorial Innovation and Performance. What is a Territorial Innovation and Performance? I'm sorry. Territorial Innovation and Performance, as a Moroccan who worked on urban planning, I was always shocked. Talking, we have only agence urbaine. Mais where is agence rurale? All the plans dictated on the wars are done by people who have the belief in the modern urban planning, and we know that modern urban planning has reached the limit. Look at Casablanca, fast urbanization that is linking Rashidiyya to Muhammadiyya, and you know what? This urbanization is devouring the most fertile lands in Morocco. What's about resources, water, etc.? To cut my story short, what I want to say, what I want to convey to you, there is not only the community level, the smartness of the bottom up, but there is also linking between the local planning and strategic planning. So when we've done, for instance, with the students and professors in the research lab, Territorial Innovation and Planning, we did not talk about cities and rural. And by the way, we're working on 2 douars next to the green city of Benguerir, which is Nuwaji and Tenmirt, we just knew the two douars next door, 300 years they've been there. And we look at them like poor, destitute. I mean, we need to solve the problem between us Moroccans before we can start with foreigners. I think there is a problem to be resolved here. There is no one rural and no one urban. I use the UN, and thanks to Rumi is here today from UN Habitat, I will use the UN Habitat term, human establishment. Be it in the desert, on the mountains, or next to Casablanca, the myth of the modern city where all the populations they are migrating to find a well-being should stop. Since the late Hassan II, Allah yarhamu, he pursued the agricultural policy. Why? Because we are all here in the room. They are coming from roots from the rural areas. And they are doing agriculture. And since, as soon as we get to Casablanca, I am Casablanca. No. You are Moroccan, and of course you are in the whole, using, Dr. Hassini, using the term of agriculture, we are all in an agrarian culture. So here I will show you, we've done with satellite imaging. Of course the community, they will do their endeavors and they will do their initiatives, but of course now with technology, we can understand even al-house, mapping territorial vulnerability in al-house. So when we did the index of vulnerability of al-house, and we did it for Rahamna before al-house, trust me, the index of vulnerability was shocking. While we are actually proud of many achievements in Morocco, how can in al-house, just for information, it's not a fake story. It is a true story. 1 week before the earthquake, I lost my road and I traveled from Agadir via those mountains. So when I took that road to reach Amzmiz, me Moroccan, I said, wow, I am in an after-war zone. Before even the earthquake. Accessibility problems, no roads, a problem of sanitation, problems, and they found an old man has in a basket selling little 5-6 apples, and he's like 75 years old. I'm sorry, I'm like blatant, but I need to say the truth. ما يمكنش دابا نتكلموا بلغة الخشب من بعد هادشي اللي وقع في الحوز. Where were the policy makers? Where were the planners? Where were all the ones doing plans where you have a zone that ambulances, they cannot get in? That the shelters, we could even, it's very easy to do an observatory of all the vulnerable houses, and we understand the vulnerability in most of these houses because I worked in the Medina of Fez and I remember more than 50, 60 houses, they were falling on the people in the winter time. So based on this vulnerability index, the team of students and professors in the school, they went there. They went to the house. And we started mapping the villages. And by the way, I'm sorry about my colleague anthropologist. I'm proud because he's Moroccan and doing anthropology. He's not like someone from New York going to do anthropology. I'm sorry, I was in the US. And they know they are coming to the anthropology of others, and they study us like the other. You know the problem of post-colonial studies, the otherness. I don't want to get to that. But please, what actually my voice, when we looked at the mapping and spatial disposition of these douars and villages, they are not primitive. They are so planned, so organized. تجمعت. Forget about the association. Les amicales, هذه جات من بعد هذه post-crisis of political election. The first amical I did in the Medina of Fez, politicians, they attacked me and said, no, je suis l'élu. L'association qui? So there are so many issues to be resolved. So what you see here, always a human establishment is anchored in its territory. And the built environment never was R+2, R+4 et des boîtes de béton. Il y avait all the time a local genius. And you pointed out on that. Biodiversity, the green things, resources, and they were all doing kind of crafts, and the douars, they had a network, and there was an aswaq. You are specialized in rugs, you specialize in wood, the other one is specialized in carving things. There was a communal network. And of course, because of the modern era, the modern establishment, and of course, establishing ministries, everything is centralized in Rabat. And they need to go through so many steps of bureaucracy to reach how 1 million dirhams will be executed. I went in that business. It's so hard. So, presumably, what I want to try to say, there is a local genius, thank you. You did a fantastic job showing us what these people, they can do. But these people, what they can do, there is a problem of temporality. Artisanal, local know-how, that is now more for resilience because of poverty. While in other places, there is macro investments where these people, they are not aligned nationally with the level of investments. So how can we align the investments, moving the know-how local through a process that would upgrade their human establishments without pushing them to be fake? That's it. Shukran. So Lala Salma here, Sbehi, some of the colleagues, Di Hamid, I was asked to do maquette numérique des plans de restructuration des douars après le séisme. Je ne vais pas dire le ministère et tout. I said, yes, we'll do it. In my opinion, as a planner, by the way, I'm not an architect of boxes and sketches. No, I moved from that. I'm not an architect of the human establishment. Architecture is only a means to dismantle the complexity of human establishments in order to prospect a better future via the vehicle, which is the built environment. So we did a wonderful job here next to the wars, and we set up a master plan, co-constructed, co-designed with community members. I did not bring a master plan, and then I invited the community members, like a circus, and they told them, what do you think? But they've never known a plan. And then they said, oh, l'approche participative est très bien réalisée. It's a joke. And then we think, oh, they are illiterate, maqarinj. This is nonsense. How can that these humans, they've been there for centuries, they developed a genius of resilience in agriculture, in crafts, in even commerce, aswaq. This is the problem. We, the elite Moroccans, go in there and study them like a little whatever thing in a laboratory. This is ridiculous. So I think we need us. I don't know, Hamid said, I want to go there and live and live 1 year. Just give you a little anecdote. I did it with my students at ENA. I had to take them to London for a trip for 1 week, and then the governor of Taunet, he gave me a village. He said to call me, Hassan, your students, they should come in this village in the top of the mountains. So I told students, sir, you promised us to take us in London. I said, I will take you to London. What student told me, is there a hotel there? I said, beautiful hotels. You know, I took them at midnight. Muqaddam, he received us. They spent 15 days studying that douar. Their mindset shifted. So what actually us universities, they should do is also to change the mindset of our students, and they are doing well. So to cut these human establishments, we need to understand not how we will organize them with a certain orthogonality of cars and roads for cars. R+2, R+4. We need to understand that there is actually a network, a honeycomb structure, there is a community, there are neighborhoods there are services, and it's whole kind of intelligence, smart things. So look, this is what I'm saying. Okay, they can do things to resolve the problems. But I'm sorry, there is also another side, the intelligence of the macro planning, strategic planning of the top management. They need help. We retrieved all satellite images of the villages before earthquake and after earthquake. That's a beautiful thing to use smart data. understand what happened. And you see, this is what our students at School of Architecture, Planning and Design, through the Laboratory for Territorial Innovation and Planning, they did. We set up kind of, this work never been done. I don't know why. I don't know why. We have all the technology in Morocco and no one has done a satellite imaging to understand the vulnerability, the settlements, how they work, the nature, the biodiversity. Include your findings as scholars, include the community input in this data. We should not forget, when we say the indigenous, we live them like they are in the Amazon tribe. You know what I'm saying. So how can actually we understand where are the problems, the slopes, the question of accessibility, the study of seismic faults, and clear from the satellite imaging, we got all the smart data on the risks of these vulnerable people, not even sites. And after, of course, this is the intensity of the earthquake. So in the house, imagine how many human establishments they are located in this vulnerable place. And this is what I'm trying to say. We can work on cooperatives. We can restore lands for agriculture. We can set up a couple of schools. But please, there is also a strategic level of planning, which is regional, territorial planning, that should be included in understanding how these sites are working. And by the way, the university was very involved in building the modular schools. You've seen the modular schools in Amzmiz. These are just like the new prototype we're doing for the Ministry of Education. Just quick, I will just show you. What we are doing at University Mohammed VI Polytechnic for you to understand that. There are, since the first week, we responded. And by the way, we did not respond with tents. When I was there, I was feeling very unhappy. I meet with students after 1 week. Students, they were traumatized. And they put them in tents for weddings. You know those tents. And one of the students told me, sir, there is actually rain here. I mean, the tent is not solid and the rain is coming. So thanks to the University Mohammed VI and of course the initiative Rebuild with Si Hassan Radoine, now we designed at the school with our students a very modular, rapid, quick, and we responded in 1 week. And now we've reached 280 schools. I remember the minister, Sibin Musa, when he came to inaugurate the first school, he asked the director, lady, what do you think about this? You know what she told him? So that means even the schools there, and we set up a technique to build 3 schools in 1 day. 3 schools in 1 day. Imagine, if we have the arts, the technicity, the savoir-faire to do 3 schools, where they were 20 years ago, where there are some regions they don't have a single school. And you have little girls, walking 10 kilometers for a school, something wrong. I'm sorry, we should be blatant. We are in a new era, thanks to His Majesty. So I think we need to move on with what it means, the real human development. These are the schools, and we set up a whole landscape, and they are, by the way, solid, and the experience inside is just amazing. And even the director of the school doesn't have where to dwell. They don't have bathrooms. And by the way, thanks to the earthquake, and then the students, they were very happy. This lady, a senior lady in the World Bank came, visited the kids, and they were so happy in a modular system. By the way, this is still confidential. We're working now with the Ministry of Education for projecting la school or l'école de demain pour le monde rural. We need to change the mindset for the students. After the trauma of the earthquake, we cannot get them back to ridiculous schools again. Like they feel more and more the misery. So we set up with local materials, thanks to the students. They draw the dreams, what the schools they want to have. And we set up beautiful program. I don't want to take from your time. Local materials, schools with international standard. Of course, resistant, anti-seismic and para-seismic schools. and of course with all the thermic, with a kit that means can be implemented in the mountains, and then we have these beautiful schools. And by the way, this school is cheaper than what the Ministry of Education is doing every day with les entreprises, and you understand what I'm talking about. So therefore, look, this is the future of the schools in the rural area. Now they adopted two prototypes that will actually implement to test that the school of UM6P would work. And if these prototypes will be accepted, 1,000 schools, they will pursue this prototype. We'll cut the budget, we'll cut everything in order to create this beautiful environment for students with local materials. This is just an animation to show you that thanks to our students, Hamid, Tabarakallah Alik, all the SAP+D students, even you can feel, you know, the classroom, how it would be, not the stupid concrete boxes. And by the way, when I looked at some schools after the earthquake, they were ridiculous before even the earthquake. So therefore, these students, they deserve better schools. They deserve, you know, and by the way, respecting the environment, zenithal lighting for the schools and everything. But I should say that commend His Excellency, the Minister of Education, Sibir Musa, who really admired the prototypes and is pushing us to implement it. We used even the fragments of the losses of the houses, like the ceramics, to do a lot of memories, but in the same time to do these beautiful schools. One last thing, it's just like to help you to understand how we would rebuild the house. I think there are 3 cycles. We need not to confuse between aftermath of the earthquake and how we should intervene in emergency, and how we set up the mechanisms to rebuild a house in a sustainable way. My concern, we should not fall in HLM like the after-war reconstruction in Europe, where the whole Europe actually regretted the concrete boxes to do the emergency work, while they did not actually ignite the mechanisms of sustainability and resilience. So we have the short term, which is damage assessment, urgent needs assessment, emergency response, shelters, but we have also medium term, adaptive reuse of existing building, restoring agriculture, prototyping, and of course the long term is how not just to rebuild houses. The first discussion we had, I told you, they will do the mistake, like l'habitat économique, that is plaguing all cities in Morocco. All the cities in Morocco, they became ugly because of social housing. We want to respond to the housing issue, and we created another issue. So therefore, it's not only to reconstruct houses. Thank you so much. I understood your voice. I said it before you told me, because I came from the ground like you. I said, be careful. You will give 140,000 dirhams. I said, what? This guy, they are already having 500 square meters. Sometimes you have 1000 mètres carrés. Et vous avez 5 الغرف والحوش وكذا، وغادي نعطيك 14 مليون وغادي تبني بيت فوق بيت. So see what the problem is? And then even, I don't know, I don't want to get to politics, please. I'm just like an academic doing my job. I think what should be done is not to solve the problem in a prompt way, is actually to understand the mechanisms of this house. And the house, by the way, as His Majesty underscored in his directives, please do the rehab, do the rebuild, but respect the local identity, which they are not doing it. So His Majesty the King, he was clear about it. Do whatever you want, because this house, because of a house that the tourists, they come. And if you change it to the concrete boxes, they will not come. So therefore, what kind of mechanisms, not only to reconstruct boxes of concrete, but to restore the immune system of communities, to boost their productivity, and while being ingenuous with your identity, your place, with a sense of belonging and sense of being. I'm sorry to be long. You've seen I'm enthusiastic, but if I'm not like that, no one of us will do something good for these people. Thank you so much, and I wish that our university and students, they will be involved. Thank you.